Taiwan's new president Lai Ching-te has been officially inaugurated on May 20th. He's going to lead Taiwan for at least the next 4 years. At this critical juncture of intensifying US-China tensions, how will Lai lead Taiwan in both domestic and foreign affairs remains a question to many who deem Lai a less-known figure on the global stage. Unlike former President Tsai Ing-wen, who won the trust of the Western world for her calm leadership style, Lai has been portrayed as someone with a more radical agenda in mind, that is, Taiwan independence. To reassure the international community, Lai's national security team is largely the same as his predecessors. In his inaugural speech, even though Lai did not deviate from Tsai's approach to Taiwan's status, he emphasized that the Republic of China and the People's Republic of China are not subordinate to each other. China responded by accusing Lai of sending a dangerous signal and by stubbornly seeking the island's independence and making provocations that could undermine cross-strait peace and stability. China's military also launched air and sea drills following the inauguration as punishment for separatist acts. We spoke to Nabe Watanabe from Japan and Mu Sochua from Cambodia to hear how they think about Taiwan's new president Lai Ching-te and what Taiwan's new government means to them, from military, regional security, economic and trade, tourism, to democracy and human rights. Nabe Watanabe is an adjunct fellow of CSIS, a DC-based think tank, and a senior fellow with Sasakawa Peace Foundation, a Tokyo-based think tank. Nabe, how does the Japanese government view Taiwan's Lai Ching-te and the new government? And what do you think of Lai Ching-te's inaugural speech?
The Japanese are basically very welcome the President Lai because he's known to the many Japanese, especially Japanese Diet member and the leaders. In Japan, he's regarded as a Japan hand.
And what do you think of his speech?
President Lai, stressing how important democracy and value, and also prosperity and peace in the region. That's clearly overlapping with Mr. Kishida's address. So I was impressed, and I'm sure that is a good message to American and European who love democracy too.
Since you mentioned Prime Minister Kishida, well, he has upgraded Japan's security alliance with the US. And what is the significance of that? And is Taiwan part of that consideration?
Taiwan is a part of the region we call the Indo-Pacific and also East Asia. And of course, Taiwan is a neighbor. The former Prime Minister Abe's, the Taiwan contingency is Japan's contingency. And of course, that Taiwan is not only, we are also considering Korean Peninsula contingency. And theoretically, these could happen together.
And Japan actually used to be a semiconductor leader in the 80s. It seems like Japan is trying to revive its manufacturing power again. How do we think about the relationship, between Taiwan and Japan? Is it competition or is it complementary? How do we think about it?
Japan's current position is a very complementary role to the Taiwan's semiconductor. And of course, Japan welcomed the TSMC, the factory in Kumamoto.
Is Japan following the US in terms of how it views China when it comes to technology competition and concern when it comes to global supply chains?
Japan continued to cooperate with the United States as for the export control on critical technology. At the same time, the China is now improving their own capability to produce high-spec one. Mm-hmm. And the current situation clearly showing a limitation of even a joint export control regime. So I think we mean that Japan and the US and other US allied nations really need to consider what is the best way because, just export control is not so effective.
Japan is also the largest tourist destination for Taiwanese and vice versa.
Mhm.
And Chinese and Japanese enjoy a very special friendship because of its past history.
Mhm.
So, how is Taiwan versus China viewed by the Japanese society right now?
The basic view is Japan really have a sympathy with Taiwanese people because Taiwanese society is very democratic, and somehow we are witnessing the fate of democracy in Hong Kong.
Mm,
Japanese people actually supported the democratization movement in Hong Kong, but
mhm.
we are worried about a potential military clash. So, or even not military, but some hybrid type Chinese attempt to control Taiwan. So, at the same time, the Japan is also, I think, a very difficult relation with China. So, I think one clear thing: Japan, U.S., Taiwan needs. I'm sure they don't want a fight or war with war against China. But at the same time, we'd like to be free from China's the pressure or coercion
So,
to our society.
what if there is some kind of conflict
Mhm.
across Taiwan Strait? Will
Mhm.
Japan be involved?
Now, one clear thing is that Japan has the very strong security tie with the United States. But if the U.S. decided to engage in, Japan has a strong obligation
Mhm.
to cope with the United States. That's one thing. And the other thing is because of geographic closeness, military common sense may say military situation in Taiwan is very likely to affect to the Japan's military case. I think that's one of the reasons former Prime Minister Abe said the Taiwan contingency is a Japan's contingency.
Mhm. Defense and economic interests, share values, and history help forge a special bond between Japan and Taiwan. As for another Asian country, Cambodia, Taiwan's democracy has been an inspiration to its opposition and diaspora democratic movement. Let's hear from Mu Sochua. Mu Sochua is president of the Khmer Movement for Democracy, a newly established organization promoting democracy and the rule of law in Cambodia. She's a former member of parliament, former minister of women's affairs, and an opposition leader of the banned Cambodian National Rescue Party. She began living in exile in 2017. Welcome, Sochua.
Thank you very much, Wenchi, for having me.
Sochua, as an opposition leader from Cambodia, what does Taiwan's democracy mean to you and to those who are fighting for democracy and human rights in Cambodia, and especially to the diaspora community?
I lead the Khmer Movement for Democracy, which is a much bigger engagement with civil society, with the 3 million Cambodians who live outside of Cambodia. It has always been an inspiration for us to look up at our friends in Taiwan. And to us, democracy Taiwan represent is the freedom of the people to to be informed. And when you look at Taiwan having to deal with China, the whole world, and defending Taiwan as as a nation, as a woman, a leader at the top, and saying that at the end of the day, women can do it, and it should not make any difference. But women have to go beyond just we are just fighting for women's rights.
And so, what is China's influence in Cambodia like, especially with its the regime's leadership?
My great grandparents came from China during, I guess, during the famine. Yeah, so what you see, my name is Hua, right? So it's half Cambodian, half Chinese. And so that part of the Chinese culture, the values, the core values of education, the ties to the family, the community, especially the family, you always have to excel. Now that part is still with me that I think is my strength. However, I cannot, like Cambodians all in Cambodia or outside Cambodia, will never forget is the role of China in the genocide years in Cambodia from 75 to 79,
The Khmer Rouge.
the Khmer Rouge. And then today, Cambodia is not just an autocracy, now is a dynasty. Hun Sen is president of the Senate, and then in the cabinet is all about the sons of the former ministers. And then with the strategy or the vision of Xi Jinping, it's got these three pillars. The first one is the Belt and Road Initiative, infrastructure, but it's actually connectivity for China. The second is what we really worry about is the global development initiative of Xi Jinping, which is that never mind human rights. You got rice in your stomach, that's good enough. You got development, that's good enough. And that's exactly what Hun Sen is saying to our people. Well, you have peace. What you have, why aren't you just, he's saying to the people, right? Aren't you happy with what you have already? What else do you want more? And the third pillar is the Global Security Initiative, which is now the presence of the naval military presence of China in our ports. The coastline of Cambodia is now used as the naval base for China. And on top of that is another new project by China, which is the construction of a canal.
Despite Cambodian leaders' denial, China has funded the expansion of Cambodia's Ream naval base, and 2 Chinese warships have docked at the base. What do you think the military base is going to be used for?
These 2 warships have been and stationed in this port of Cambodia, Ream, since early December. And just recently, there was this big military exercise with the presence of China in Cambodia, cyber crime. In the compound of these big casinos that are owned by Chinese companies, by the Chinese mafia, by the Cambodian tycoons who are backed by the Chinese mafia, you have this is the detention centers for the victims of cyber crimes. In Cambodia alone, we're talking about human trafficking. We're talking about scamming through internet. I want to make clear that we are not against China. That's not the point. The point is we need to defend our land. We need to, our farmers are losing their land because hundreds and thousands of hectares of land or sea or lakes are all now in the possession of these big tycoons and big companies and mainly the Chinese. It's about freedom. It's about liberty. And then we admire Taiwan for defending the people of Taiwan, for defending your own land. The leadership of China has to understand they may own Hun Sen and his family, but they cannot own the people of Cambodia.
That was Nabe Watanabe and Mu Sochua in conversation with TaiwanPlus News. You can find more stories from Taiwan and around the world on the TaiwanPlus website. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
We bring you stories from Taiwan.
Every day of the week.
Our reporters travel the nation.
Exploring the issues that matter to you.
News from here in Taiwan and around the world.
What's up, Taiwan? On TaiwanPlus.